Hi, welcome to mini concert number 89. Glad you tuned in. If it wasn't for you, nobody would be listening. This first song is one that's heard a lot in the Irish pubs. Didn't do it at the beginning when I was first working on my Irish subset, but son Jonathan suggested it, so I added it. Tim Finnegan lived in Walking Street, a gentle Irishman, mighty odd. He had a brogue both rich and sweet, and to rise in the world he carried a hod. Tim had a bit of a tippling way, with a taste for the whiskey he was born. So to help him on his wage day, he'd a taste of the creature every morn. Whack for the dod, now dance to your partner, round the flue your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. One morning Tim felt rather full, his head was heavy and it made him shake. He fell off the ladder and he broke his skull. They carried him home, his soul to wake. Well, they laid him down upon the bed, and they wrapped him up in a nice clean sheet, with a bucket of whiskey at his head and a barrel of porter at his feet. Oh, and for the dawn, now dance to your partner, round the flue your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Tim's friends assembled at the wake, and Mrs. Finnegan called for lunch. First she served him tea and cake, then pipes, tobacco, and whiskey punch. Oh, Biddy O'Brien began to cry. Such a nice clean corpse would you never see. Oh, Timmy Bucko, why did you die? Shut your trap, said Paddy McGee. Oh, whack for the dawn, now dance to your partner, round the flue your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Well, Maggie O'Connor took up the job. Biddy, she said, you're wrong, I'm sure. Biddy gave her a punch in the gob, left her sprawling on the floor. Well, then the war did soon engage. It was woman to woman and man to man. Shillelagh law was all the rage, and the row and the ruckus soon began. Oh, and for the dawn, now dance to your partner, round the flue your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Well, Mickey Maloney ducked his head when a bucket of whiskey flew at him. It missed and landing on the bed, the whiskey scattered over Tim. Well, look to see how he revives. Tim Finnegan rising from the bed, saying, word your whiskey around like blazes, thundering Jesus, do you think I'm dead? Oh, and for the dawn, now dance to your partner, round the flue your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Whack for the dawn, now dance to your partner, round the flue your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. So that's Finnegan's Wake, not to be confused with the very long book by James Joyce. So let's see. Next up is the only prisoner of war song that I've ever heard. John Denver did this one. Josie works the counter at the downtown Five and Dime. Anything at all, help her pass the time. Her mama keeps a baby. Grandpa rambles on about the good times playing in his mind. It's a hard life living when you're lonely. It's a long night sleeping alone. It's a hard time waiting for tomorrow. It's a long, long way home. Josie spends her evenings with the people on the pages of the paperback that she picks up at the store. Sometimes it's a TV, she'll try to write a letter, but they don't come too often anymore. It's a hard life living when you're lonely. It's a long night sleeping alone. It's a hard time waiting for tomorrow. It's a long, long way home. And I stare at the gray walls before me. I see her face in the stone, and I try to imagine our baby, and I wish they would let me go home. Yes, I wish they would let me go home. It's a hard life living when you're lonely. It's a long night sleeping alone. It's a hard time waiting for tomorrow. It's a long, long way home. Bring me and the other boys home. Bring me and the other boys home. Bring me and the other boys home. So that's Prisoners. Oops. Next up is a song by Stan Rogers, one of my favorite folk writers. I heard this a song done by a lady down in Richmond at an Irish pub. I'd never heard it before. The title of the song is Maryellen Carter. Well, she went down last October in the pouring, driving rain. Skipper had been drinking, and the mate, he felt no pain. Too close to 3 Mile Rock, and she was dealt her mortal blow. The Maryellen Carter settled low. There were just us 5 aboard her when she finally was awash. We worked like hell to save her, all heedless of the cost. And the groan she gave as she went down caused us to proclaim, let the Maryellen Carter rise again. Well, the owners wrote her off, not a nickel would they spend. After 20 years of service, boys, she met her sorry end. The insurance paid the losses off to let her rest below. Then they laughed at us, said we'd have to go. But we talked of her all winter, some days around the clock. Worth $250,000, floating at the dock. And with every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain to help the Maryellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. That her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will help the Maryellen Carter rise again. Well, all spring now we've been with her on a barge lent by a friend. 3 dives a day in a hard hat suit, twice I've had the bends. Thank God it's only 60 feet and the currents here are slow, or I'd never have the strength to to go below. So we packed her rents and stopped her vents, dog hatch and portals down, rigged cables to her fore and aft, girded her around. And tomorrow noon we'll hit the air, then take up the strain. I watch the Maryellen Carter rise again, rise again, rise again. That her name not be lost with the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will help the Maryellen Carter rise again. Well, we couldn't leave her there, you see, to crumble in the scale. She saved our lives so many times, sailing through the gales. And the laughing drunken rats have left her to her sorry grave, where they won't be laughing in another day. All you to whom adversity has dealt the final blow, with smiling bastards lying to you everywhere you go. Turn to and put out all your strength of arm and heart and brain. I watch the Maryellen Carter rise again, rise again, rise again. Though your heart it be broken and your life about to end, no matter what you lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, be like the Maryellen Carter rise again, rise again, rise again. Though your heart it be broken and your life about to end, no matter what you lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, be like the Maryellen Carter rise again. So that's the Maryellen Carter, or as it's become known as recently, the Resurrection Song, for obvious reasons. The next up is a Simon and Garfunkel song. Well, I'm just a poor boy, my story's seldom told. I've squandered my existence on a pocket full of mumbles, such are promises. All lies and jests, tell a man hears what he wants to hear, and disregards the rest. And he disregards the rest. When I left my home and family, I was no more than a boy, in the company of strangers, in the quiet of a railway station, running scared, laying low, seeking out the poor quarters where the ragged people go, looking for the places only they would know. Lie, 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 lie. Asking only workmen's wages, I come looking for a job, I get no offers. Just to come on from the girls on 7th Avenue, I do declare, there were times that was so lonesome that I took some comfort there. Yes, I took some comfort there. Well, I'm laying out my winter clothes, wishing I was gone, going home, where the New York City winters are bleeding me, going home. In the clearing stands a boxer, and a fighter by his trade, and he carries a reminder cried out in his anger and his shame, I'm leaving, but the fighter still remains. Yes, the fighter still remains. Lie, 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 lie. Well, the years are rolling by me, they are rocking evenly. I'm older than I once was, younger than I'll be, that's not unusual. No, it's not strange. After changes upon changes, we are more or less the same. After changes, we are more or less the same. Lie, 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 lie. That's The Boxer, written by Paul Simon and performed by Simon and Garfunkel. Next up is another favorite in the Irish pubs. It's called Dublin in the Rare Old Times. It was written by Peter Fitzjohn, who was a Dubliner who moved away to make his fortune. Interesting story there if you want to look him up. Anyway, he came back to Dublin and discovered that it wasn't what he remembered, and he didn't like it, so he wrote this song. Raised on songs and stories, heroes of renown, the past in tales and glories that once was Dublin town. The hallowed halls and houses, the haunting children's rhymes, was once a part of Dublin in the rare old time. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in a rare old time. Well, me name, it is Sean Dempsey, Dublin as can be, born hard and late in Pimlico, in a house that ceased to be. By trade I was a cooper, washed out to redundancy, as my house was lost to progress, my trade's a memory. Well, I courted Peggy Diamond, pretty as you please, but a Rogan child of Mary from the rebel liberties. I lost her to a student chap. Her skin was black as coal, and when he took her off to Birmingham, she took away his soul. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old time. Well, the years have left me bitter, the gargle dims me brain, and Dublin keeps on changing, and nothing seems the same. The pillar and that gray unyielding concrete makes a city of my town. So farewell, sweet Alippy, I can no longer stay and watch the new glass cages rise up along the quay. My head's too full of memories, told to learn new chimes. I'm a part of what was Dublin in the rare old time. Ring a ring a rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old time. So that's Dublin in the rare old times. Next up is the Peter, Paul and Mary song. Peter Yarrow borrowed the words of this from his college roommate's poetry. He attributed it to his roommate too, and the guy's still receiving royalties on this one. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea, and he frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper, well, he loved that rascal Puff, and he brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. Well, together they would travel on a boat with billowed sails. Jackie kept a lookout perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Noble kings and princes would bow whene'er they came, and pirate ships would lower their flags when Puff roared out his name. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea, and he frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea, and he frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Well, a dragon lives forever, but not so little boys. Painted wings and giant's rings give way to other toys. One gray night it happened, Jackie Paper came no more, and Puff, that mighty dragon, he ceased his fearless roar. His head was bent in sorrow, and green scales fell like rain. Puff no longer came to play along the cherry lane. Without his lifelong friend, Puff could not be brave. So Puff, that mighty dragon, slipped into his cave. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea, and he frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. So that's Puff the Magic Dragon. Now last week I promised I would sing you a Thanksgiving song. This song was written by James Pierpont. My notes say 1857, but when I did some more reading on it today, it was actually 1850, and he was from Massachusetts, and around the time of Thanksgiving they used to have sleigh races. So he wrote this song to celebrate those races. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Well, a day or two ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bryce was seated by my side. Well, the horse was lean and lank, his fortune seemed his lot. He got into a drifted bank, and then we were upset. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Believe it or not, it's a Thanksgiving song. Thanks for coming to mini concert number 89. I will see you next Wednesday for number 90.